I guess we are live.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Young CFO Dialogue, Young Chief Finance Officer Socratic Dialogue. Generally, we talk about products. We talk about policies and strategies to sell the products. But eventually, what matters is the value that we create, the value that is created by the company, the money that is being created by the company. So, okay, but there are a few questions. Okay, how a normal employee, of a company can integrate all this? How a normal employee of a company can know that if his work is being adding value to the company? So in today's dialogues, our team members, the two young teams should be discussing how their work is adding value, is adding the value of money to the company. With this, I would like to ask Team Gordon to introduce themselves. Yeah, over to you, Team Gordon. Would you like to introduce also?
Yes,
Yeah.
Mohit, you can. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, we are Team Gordon. Gordon is a very famous valuation model given by Mr. Gordon, and it is known as the famous dividend growth model. So we have taken his name as our team name. Yeah.
And would you like to introduce yourself and your team members, Team Gordon?
All right. Yeah. So my name is Sanskar. I have been associated with DT from 1 month. I am a CA student as well as doing CFA. In my team, we have Insha. She's been associated with DT from 2 months. And also we have Mohit in our team. And he has also been associated with DT from 1 month. So that's our team. Thank you.
And I am a TPM and Mohit is a front-end developer.
Okay, I will appreciate if individual team members of team Nauroji, that's what it's pronounced, right? Nauroji, or yes.
Nauroji.
What's the exact pronunciation?
Nauroji, Dadabhai Nauroji. It's on the name of Dadabhai Nauroji.
Yeah. So I would request all the team members of Team Nauroji, to introduce themselves.
Yeah. So we have put, as I have said, we have put our name from the great economist Dadabhai Nauroji, who gave the theory of economic drain. Yeah.
Can you speak a little?
Saurabh.
Can you speak a little louder, please, Saurabh? I'm not able to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, sir. I'm Saurabh. I'm member of Team Paradigm. I'm technical product manager with Deepthought.
You're not clear, Saurabh.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, please speak closer to the mic. This is better.
Yeah. So my name is Saurabh. I am technical product manager with Deepthought. Yeah, and I'm a member of Team Paradigm.
Yeah, I am Utkarsh. I'm associated with Deepthought for 1 week only, and this is my first Socratic Dialogue. I am a member of the Impact Tech team.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Shaumita. I am associated with Deepthought for 1.5 months, and I am from finance team, and as well as I am also involved in Deepthought Impact Tech team also, and I'm a part of Team Knowledge. Thank you.
Yes, and Team Nauroji, would you like to tell our audience, why you have renamed yourself Team Nauroji? It's a CFO Dialogue. How is it related to Mr. Navroji.
Yeah. So we have named it on the basis of Dadabhai Nauroji, the who gave the theory of drain, economic drain, like how, and he was the first first Indian parliamentarian to the British Parliament. Yes. On the
Okay, I think you got stuck. Can any other member of your team tell why you have chosen the name Navroji?
So basically, Dadabhai Nauroji was used to called our grandfather of our nation and ambassador of India, and he had proposed the theory of drain. So in economics, and because of that, to link with as our CFO dialogues, so we tried to include his name as our team.
Yeah. And do you know, recently his house was given a green dot in his house in Penge in Bromley district in London. Are you aware of that? So Dadabhai Nauroji used to live in a little village called Penge, Penge, and recently, 1 week ago, his house, they put a green dot, which signifies a certain honor. Look him up, guys.
Yeah, that's interesting. Correct to know. Thank you, Mr. Giridhar. Now, today we have three fantastic CFOs with us who have joined us today as jury members. I would request all the jury members to introduce yourself. Yeah, over to you, jury members.
So there's nothing fancy about being a CFO. My name is Giridhar. I think I've actually worked in three broad domains. Domain number one is cigarettes, when I sold cigarettes as part of ITC. And then after that, I sold booze, which I did as part of Diageo, which sells Johnny Walker. And then I sold drugs when I was in pharmaceutical companies. And now I work as a CFO for Taj, which is in hospitality, where I bring the cigarettes, the booze, and the drugs together.
Together. Lovely. Okay, well, I've also been a chartered accountant and in finance for 30 years, mostly in textiles. I was initially in the manufacturing of the raw material for textile, it comes from oil. So we made petrochemicals, PET chips, and fiber. I then moved on to spinning, where I was lucky enough to be in Sri Lanka, Colombo, for 8 years. And then finally I was in fashion, again making garments for some of the very big brands like Armani and Calvin Klein and Guess and Nike. I've recently started my own consultancy in Indonesia, in Jakarta. So yes, fancy or not, been associated with all aspects of finance, including manufacturing in the factory and later on in corporate finance. Yes, that's it.
Yeah, I'm Mohammed Anas. I'm founder of Inord and Elite SPM. So Inord is more like a drone company. I started it in my college and I'm a young entrepreneur. So I bootstrapped my journey from one company and I started another venture now, which is which have raised the fund, and we are serving the market for spraying for farmers in agriculture field, and we are also working in inspection industry. So yeah.
Great. How old are you, Anas?
I'm 22.
So you will certainly learn from Anas more than you can learn from me. I can.
Yeah. We are. Yeah. He. That's the way to go. We have really gone. I see startups and youngsters, and I really learn from them. Finances change. The concepts have, what you learn from do and how you do it is altogether changed. We have done our auditing and our balance sheets used to be typed on typewriters. So you can imagine the time we started from today. So never mind. But it's an interesting field for who finds things finds finance and numbers and concepts interesting. It's only otherwise it can be extremely boring if you're at the wrong place. It's very good fun if you really know and really interested in what you do. So best of luck, guys. Let's hear you now.
Yeah, thank you to the members. Thank you, Mr. Giridhar. Thank you, Mr. Muhammad, and thank you, Mr. Vinay. Now let's start the first round of this Socratic dialogue. The theme is how can you actually uh, explain, or I will say that how can you actually show whatever you are working, it creates value in the form of money. So there are two teams with us. One team will be in the answer box and one team will be in the question box. Which team would like to go in the answer box? Yes, you can directly pitch.
Answer box, like we will be pitching first, no? For
Yeah, so team Gordon, you would like to be in the answer box? Yes, then
yeah.
For round one, team Gordon, you will be in the answer box, and team Navroji, you will be in the question box. Over to you, team Gordon. You have 2 minutes time to pitch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, hi everybody. In India, around 23% of startup fails because of not having the right team, and 29% fails because they become out of cash. Why out of cash? Because startups have average churn rate of around 40% in India. The average hiring cost for a fresher in India is around 25,000 to rupees 32,000, and that expense goes to waste if that fresher turns out to be a bad hire. So to solve this problem, we are presenting our product, DT Growth Teams. We have used some hypothetical figures to explain our product very well. So the DT Growth Teams is a service offered by DT to startups. It would be providing in-house teams to startups for various needs such as product development teams, UI UX designer teams, marketing teams, and etc. Also, we would be providing hiring candidates for these startups through DT's hiring system. So if a startup hires 10 freshers in a year, it would cost them somewhere around rupees 3 lakhs as a hiring cost. Of course, 3-4 people might turn out to be a bad hire, leading to the additional expense of around 1 lakh rupees. So the total hiring cost for the year could be around rupees 4 lakh. Say the annual salary of these freshers around 5 lakhs per annum. So it could be total could be around 50 lakhs for 10 employees as a salary. Hence, total annual expense incurred on these hiring process and salaries could be around rupees 54 lakh. So DT would change a startup. DT would charge a startup rupees 3 lakhs per person for a year, making it a total of rupees 30 lakhs for a year. Hence, there would be a savings of 44% for the startups. Startups would be happy to have DT as their hiring partner because DT is reducing its average hiring cost, saving on the cost of bad hires. DT interns have rigors to learn through actions, professional interns with good work ethics, interns that understand the value of their contribution. Now, I would like to tell brief us about the revenue forecast of DT. So these are all hypothetical figures. So if we assume that DT would be paying rupees 15,000 per intern, it would total somewhere around 1.8 lakhs for a year. If we add 20,000 as hiring cost, of course, it would be lower for DT because we have assets, DT assets with us. So it would make a gross profit of around 1 lakh per employee on an yearly basis. Hence, it makes DT very cash flow rich company. So that is our revenue forecast for the year. And I would like to end my pitch here. Thank you.
Okay, interesting. Team Gordon. Yeah, over to you, team Navroji. You can start asking questions to team Gordon.
Can you okay? You enlisted the value for the companies, okay? But what are the value for the candidate here?
I did not get your question. Could you please repeat?
Okay, you mentioned like how the how will you get values from the companies, but how will you get value from the candidate? How will you generate revenue from the candidate?
We would be providing service to the companies which requires interns. So we would be training those interns. We would be hiring. We would be giving various kind of in-house trainings, such as we have SDs here as an example of a training which we have in DT. Other could be thread building exercises and showcase events, etc. So we would be training them and we would be placing them for the companies. So, yeah.
I would like to add on to it. So basically, interns are the people who don't have experience and they look for experience. So here they are getting experience as well as a reasonable amount for them.
Keep your answer short and crisp.
Yeah. So basically, experience and reasonable amount, which most people don't get everywhere.
Yeah, freshers already get some sort of training and internships to a certain level in the college as well. So, but still they are incompetent. How is like your product making them competent? Like how it is guaranteed that it will make them competent?
We will be teaching them how to look at product with value.
So again, that will be teaching, right? How will you make sure that they are learning it? They have learned it.
For this, we have an upcoming product named PDGMS, which is Peter Drucker Growth Management System. So in that, it will be clearly monitored by having the character count that they will have during the sessions, as well as the social quiz that they will be answering.
I thought we were discussing about the current product, the growth team you have. Like how can we talk about the future product?
Can we discuss about the value part that we're
tell us how this product will help create value on the future.
So it would create value. Like we have mentioned that even if we assume that 10 startups joins with us, so we are saving their cost to around 40 to 45% on an yearly basis. And even if we give salary to interns that is above the standards which the other companies are giving, it would be a profitable venture on our part. If you would want, I can explain it with the help of some examples in terms of numbers.
So I have a question regarding the revenue forecast you have done. So how you are measuring the burn rate of your project?
Burn rate, I did not understand.
Burn rate as in like how many cash you are there to like burn, like how many cash you have already keeping in your mind that they are going on waste.
Okay, so that would be a kind of a risk analysis part. So we are assuming that for hiring or placing 10 interns, we would be we have to go for somewhere around 50 interns for the hiring process. We will scrutinize among them. We will hire 20 interns or 15 interns, let's say, from them, and they will get scrutinized with the rigor of thinking and other methods which we have in DT to evaluate them whether they are capable enough to be placed in a high like a startup or not. So it would be a profitable venture if I can explain it with the help of an example. So if even if we pay interns 15,000 per month of salary, so we can have a revenue of around like if we have 10 startups with 5 interns requirement, we would be having a revenue of around 1.5 CR on an yearly basis, which would be requiring a cost of around let's say we have assumed that we would be having a profit of 1 lakh.
I'm so sorry to stop you right here. I just wanted to know the burn rate, like how your company is spending the initial capital, how your project is spending the initial capital before generating positive cash flow.
For that we would have to raise capital to build those assets.
Okay. So what my team member means is, how are you going to spend money to like acquire some clients and acquire some project students for yourself, like before you start making profit on it? How will you begin the business? How will you start it?
Utkarsh, here we'll focus more on the value part, like how the business will be generating value. So getting the clients is sort of an operation thing. So let's focus on the finance. If you have questions relating to finance, sure.
Okay, so how would you get the money? How would you get the investment to build the product? How would you do that?
So for initial investments, I think we as a service company would not require much of investment.
Are we a
Uh,
service company?
we are a service company, no? We
Okay.
are connecting the startups with the interns, which they are hiring from some other platforms, but at a higher cost. But we would be providing them at a much cheaper cost. So yeah,
Just for clarification, by we mean Team Gordon.
yeah, Team Gordon. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, more questions from Team Navroji. Anyone have any question?
Yeah. So you said like you are a service company, right? So like then how are you how would you train people? Would you, so for that you would need some amount, like you would use some product. So where would you like, where would you get that investment from?
So for that, we are hiring interns, and interns would be working with us for around 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. So if they are tech interns, they would be building around the assets which we have in DT. So they would be working as on that. That would help them on building their uh, concepts around tech, and they would get more furnished and they would be more carnaged around the tech.
Sir, I would appreciate if our answers can be short, so we could actually have a dialogue.
Okay. So could you please repeat, Saurabh, what was your question?
Yeah. As you said, you are a service company, but you are training people, and you are training people. To
So
train people, you
Saurav,
need some sort of product.
how is your question relevant to the theme? We are trying to dissect the value being created by the model. So how would your question be relevant?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm asking like how would you get the investment? How would you get the
ask any
investment?
question. How is that relevant to the theme? Your team has been going on tangents for the last 10 minutes or so. I would appreciate if the questions related to the theme, which is what is the value of this model which they're proposing. Yeah. The value that they're creating through this model.
Okay, so are there any other values except monetary values which your product will be creating?
But the theme is about creating monetary value, right? So can we stop tangents and can we ask question related to theme? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'll put it differently. So except from the part, except from the involved transaction which you just mentioned in your pitch, what are the other monetary values which your product will create for a project student, for a company, and for Deep Thought?
Okay. 1 minute, we'll take it one at a time. So any value apart from this transaction created for the client, the company, we'll take that first.
For client, there would not be risk of interns leaving, so they would be more particular for doing the work.
Back to Team Navroji, a follow-up question to that.
Yeah. So how will that create a value for the project student except from the honorarium you will be earning?
No, he's answered how it is creating value for the company. Any follow-up questions on that?
Okay, so you explained how is it creating monetary value? That again is reducing the risk, right? But how is it creating the monetary value?
Got that. Back to Team Gordon.
Monetary value to the company we are selling service, no?
So if the risk is reduced, how is it monetary value? That's the question.
Yeah. As I mentioned that all of the companies have around 40% of churn rate. So if this risk is reduced, it would be converted into.
Got that. Back to Team Navroji. Yeah. Okay, we'll go back to part 2 of his question. How is this creating value for the candidate?
For candidate, yeah.
Other than the stipend the candidate is receiving, yeah.
Okay, so candidates are getting experience of working in startups apart from the usual internships.
Can you link that the monetary value that the candidate gets out of this?
The money that they will be spending on learning something, they are getting it here without spending money, and even they are earning money as well.
Okay, back to Team Nauraj.
Yeah. So how is it creating monetary value for Deep Thought except from that transaction?
Okay.
So
No,
we
but
are
no, we'll take that. We'll take that. That's part 3. But Team Nauraj, any other question on the candidate front? They're saying the money they would have spent on training somewhere else, they're getting it. They're getting the training without spending that money. Anything else from Team Nauraj? No. Okay, we'll move to part 3. For Deep Thought, what is the value?
for deep thought, one value is in the monetary terms, which we
Apart
are.
from that is this question.
Apart from that, we are building a strong network of companies, corporates, which would be hiring candidates which are nurtured from deep thought. So it would
How would that help in monetary value?
Yeah.
How would
How is that leading
that
to
help in
monetary
monetary
value?
value?
Sorry, could you please?
How is that
repeat?
leading to monetary value?
Monetary value. Okay, so it would make deep thoughts goodwill in the market. So we can charge.
How is that leading
or-
to monetary value?
So
Those
if we,
people, sorry, can I?
yeah, sure.
So those people can turn into investors as well.
How is that leading to monetary value?
We are getting smart referrals, due to which we are getting more clients, and the more clients we get, the more money we get.
Okay, I'm satisfied with the answer.
Okay, we'll close this round here. And while the jurors score, I think there's quite a bit of talking to do on the tangents. And I hope we'll address that in the break. We request the jurors to move to the jury room. So our team could help you with the scoring process.
Jury room. How does one go to the jury room? Breakout.
Yeah, Mr. Giridhar, you can click on this icon called breakout rooms. At the bottom, you'll see. Yeah. So, Mr. Anas, were you able to find the breakout rooms button? Yeah. Okay, reflections, people. I didn't want to come here, but reflections.
Yeah, so my reflection is that somewhere around in the middle of the conversation, I lost the track of the topic, but I came back to the topic, and we need to focus more on the monetary terms only in the discussion.
Okay, any other reflections?
And for me, I believe I had to frame the questions well. Like I framed it, but I could not explain my question well. So I needed to articulate.
Okay.
My reflection will be on the basis of what Utkarsh asked, that it is not necessary that the money will come from only one source. There are many sources.
Okay. Anyone else? Reflections? Okay, and Saurabh, when she said there's a product which is coming out, does that affect her in justifying the value created through this model?
I thought they were talking about the service company. They approached a service company. Then she said,
okay, yeah. So Sanskar, if you're telling that you have a technology product to address it, if you're telling you have a technology product to address it, are you a service company or a product company then?
We are providing service as well as product as a package.
You're a SaaS company, right? You're a product company with a SaaS product.
But SaaS companies do use tools, no? So we are using that tool.
We are
no. You can either be a service company with a software tool. You're a hardcore service company which is giving some trainings and giving actual service by using a software, or you could be a pure SaaS company where you say use my product, and the product is giving you a service, but there's no human intervention.
It's not purely service.
Yeah, it's a B2B SaaS, right?
Yeah.
So if it is B2B SaaS, then or it's a service offering they're selling to a startup, or it could be a combination of a service plus a product. right? Where initially you sell a service until it gets enough acceptance. Once it gets acceptance, and you're no longer selling the service. So she can have technology as a base for her to give that service, right?
Yeah.
End of the day, the service she is giving to a startup is clear, to the candidate is clear. And to give that service, you need a tech layer. And his entire narrative is, I'll reduce the cost. To reduce the cost is where technology comes in. Because you're doing something which the incumbent players are not doing. I think some good questions have come out and could have been, fielded better, but that's the whole point of getting into dialogue. And the questions can be focused on what is the value which is being created. So over to you, Ketki and Umang.
So yes, let's begin with the round 2 of today's Socratic dialogue. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, Umang, before we continue, the jurors wanted to get like a certain brief on what the direction of the conversation is, because in the first round they were a bit unclear about where the conversation was going. So could you just brief them on what the ideal direction would be for the conversation now?
Yeah, so hi, Tarun here, and I'm happy to give you a little more context. So while I think my colleague is probably a little nervous. So in the Socratic dialogue, what we usually have is a question box and answer box, as you must have gathered. So both the teams are handed out a questionnaire, and they've gone through a questionnaire which they read to try and understand concepts. So the concept which was given to them is how a startup is valued. The DCF method was explained to them. Some of them, as you must have gathered through the introduction, do not carry a business background. There are product folks, and there are also, Mohit is a software developer here. So they were asked to pick up any product of their choice. So this particular team decided to pick up a product which Deep Thought itself is working on. And they are trying to explain what is the value that this product is creating. So the main question which the teams have been given is, when you're talking of value creation, can you demonstrate the future cash flow that this might create? Because you can't just be making statements like, hey, I'm getting usage, I'm getting this, I'm getting a brand image and so on. You've got to demonstrate either a cash flow or a saving in the future as the first principles of valuation are concerned. So what both the teams would be doing is they're presenting their own product idea. And they're trying to argue how that is actually creating value. And what the question box would be doing is asking some questions, both with maybe a debate intent as well as a collaborative intent to.
This would have helped before this first case also. This would have helped before the first round. Never mind. Clear.
Yeah. I mean, we've been encouraging youngsters to take up this responsibility. So I thought of stepping down, but I'm sure there's a learning for Umang. So Umang, it would have been nicer if this context was laid out clearly, but I hope you enjoy the further duration of the dialogue.
Sure.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for the patience, Mr. Vinny. Yeah. So, Team Gordon, would you mind just going over your presentation once again so the jurors can, then ask questions accordingly? Yeah.
Okay, so I should go with the pitch again, no?
Yes.
All right. So basically in India, we have around 23% of startups fails because not having the right team, and 29% fails because they become out of cash. So why do they become out of cash? Because startups have average churnout rate of around 40% in India. The average hiring cost for a fresher in India is around 25,000 to 32,000. And that expense goes waste if that fresher turns out to be a bad hire. So to solve this problem, we are presenting our product, DT Growth Teams. DT Growth Teams would be a service as well as a product offered by DT to startups. It would be providing in-house teams to the startups for various needs such as product development teams, UI, UX, designer teams, marketing teams, and etc. Also, we would be hiring candidates for these startups through DT's hiring system. So, if we go with the hypothetical figures, so if a startup hires 10 freshers in a year, it would cost them around 3 lakhs as a hiring cost, uh, which we have taken as an average from various sources of Statista. So it would cost somewhere around 3 lakhs for them as an hiring cost. Of course, there would be 3 to 4 people who might turn to be a bad hire, leading to the additional expense to fill their vacancy, somewhere around 1 lakh more. So the total hiring cost for the year for this startup would be around 4 lakh rupees. And say the annual salary for these freshers would be around 5 lakhs per annum. So it would cost somewhere around 50 lakh for 10 employees salary. Hence, the total annual expense on HR department, it could be around rupees 54 lakhs for this startup. So DT would charge a startup, say rupees 3 lakhs per person for a year, and it would make a total of rupees 30 lakhs for a year for that startup. Hence, there would be a saving of hence there would be a saving of around 44% for that startups in monetary value. Startups would be happy to have DT as their hiring partner because DT is reducing its average hiring cost, saving on the cost of bad hires. DT interns have rigor to learn through actions, which can help them to replace the freshers. Professional interns with good work ethics, interns that understand the value of their contribution. So these are the pointers which would encourage.
So Sanskar, some quick questions before the jury come in with questions. Some quick questions for ease of understanding. What did you mean by in-house teams?
In-house team, I meant that if like there could be two options. A startup can have their own hiring for a team, let's say a tech team, so they can hire that person or their team by their own, or they can outsource it. So as a DT, what we would be doing, we would hire interns and make our tech team, and we would be putting that team to that startup.
So you're hiring people and for them, right, in-house, instead of them outsourcing to some software companies.
Yeah, we would be hiring.
Okay. My second question is, how is this 5 lakh in your number? How is it coming down to 3 lakh?
5 lakh. Okay, so 5 lakh. Yeah. So I would say that we have if a startup would hire a fresher, it would cost somewhere around 5 lakhs as a salary of a freshers.
How is it coming down to 3 lakh?
It is coming because instead of fresher, we are putting interns for that role.
So why are startups not already having interns there?
Because they do not have trust with the interns, because they sometimes.
So why don't they have trust with interns?
Because they consider interns to be unprofessional and.
So what's happening now?
So we as a DT, we are training them to be like, first of all, in our hiring process itself, we are hiring the interns which are very serious about learning, who are professionals in their behavior. And after that screening process, what we would be doing, we would be putting them into various kind of trainings. One of such training is Socratic Dialogue, or we have thread builders and.
What is this thread builder?
Thread builder is a in-house technology built by Deep Thought, which encourages the person to do the to note down the threads which someone, like if I'm saying something, the listener would not be able to remember it for so long. So what listener can do is, listener can note down the main pointers which I am speaking in that technology, which we have built as a software, and he can refer it again after sometimes whenever he wants to refer it.
Sure. So I hope that gives enough context, and we'd love to have some jury questions.
No, that's fine, Tarun. I think very good. I think what you guys are doing is great. I think, in fact, I think the questions you asked were exactly some of the questions that I wanted to ask. It's very good, but it's great. I think it's some great effort from the part of both teams in terms of. So now we go to the jury questions to
Yes.
Gordon. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Fine. No, I think what I suppose the Gordon team didn't clearly explain, and I think the other team tried to ask was the assumption that Gordon team's product would be completely profitable. And I think the question is, and there was an attempt to ask questions around cost of acquisition of customers and therefore, is this product from Gordon going to be profitable from day one? I think there was a loose answer in terms of raising capital. I think I would really like to understand how have they thought out the initial part of this before they actually get their first customer. Actually, how will you get your first customer to take your intern? How would you and what would it cost? And secondly, what would be the cost of getting interns before you place the interns? What would be the cost of training the interns? And do you pay the interns during this period before they are placed out?
They stated that they're not paying the interns, but yeah, your question stands. Would anybody come today to be an unpaid intern?
Yeah. So Team Gordon, would you want to take the question?
Yeah, I can answer that. Shall I?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but
yeah,
looks like your teammates are happy to support you. So,
we'd like to hear the others as well.
Yeah.
Instead of,
Yeah. So go.
Yeah. Can we like cut down question into pieces?
sure. So let's go with the first piece. How are you going to finance the cost of acquiring the first customer?
So like in my opinion, we can have the first customer as someone we know and someone who already trusts us. So basically a person who is a friend of ours or a relative of ours for the first customer.
business doesn't work with expecting your friends to pitch in. It's not a commercial decision then.
So, okay, would you be able to get in enough people within your network?
Yes, we will be.
How many interns would you start off with for training purposes?
We may start with 5 interns.
Okay, so the second question I think was a more important question. What about your cost of training these people? Or rather, I think an important question to ask is what is the duration of the training period in this model?
Like for how many days or months the intern will be trained?
Will be trained before you place the person in the company?
At least 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
So how do you ensure that because you have, let's say you've got 3 clients, the requirements of the 3 clients are different. So how do you ensure your training is good enough to meet the requirements of 3 clients who may have completely different requirements?
So like if I talk about deep thought, we already have such people who can train in different ways.
If 3 different clients have 3 different requirements, wouldn't that increase your cost of training itself? So how do you deal with that?
So we can categorize it, no? And like we
But
can
you still
find
need 3 different trainers, and so the cost goes up. So how do you deal with that?
So yeah, initially like it's in introduction phase, so we are ready to take that challenge.
So okay, in the later phases, how do you deal with the cost?
No, the risk is rejection. You put a wrong intern into a company and the company rejects based on the performance of the intern, then he will never come back to you for this model.
So Insha, I think you guys got the product itself wrong. What is the duration of the training period? What is the duration of your training period?
Oh, it's 15 days to 1 month.
So how is it that the industry has 3 months as a training period and we are in this model having 15 days as a training period? I think that's where the argument lies.
I missed that part.
I'm sorry, the jury still wants to know. I mean, they got some of that product knowledge wrong, and love to see them grilled.
Can I answer?
Yeah.
Okay. We can have, first of all, for starting this business, we can just go for angel investing, or we can put in some money by ourselves as a founder. Then
No, Sanskar, that's not the question. My question which I asked was, if the industry takes 3 months to train an intern, how is it that our model has 15 days as the assumption?
No, that would not be common. 15 days training would be common, which every interns needs to understand, have some leadership qualities.
But after that 15 days, the person may not be able to contribute is the question, right? So in the industry, it takes 3 months for a software intern to contribute.
Right.
In the deep thought environment, it takes 15 days for an intern to contribute. So that is where the value creation is happening for the industry, cutting down the 3 months to 15 days, which you didn't include in your presentation, which is what has led to this confusion. So now the question is, how did that 3 months become 15 days?
Because we introduce them to first principle and various mental models. We let them think from the perspective where they can actually see the value of what they are contributing.
Better thinking models training, but that still doesn't answer, because for them to get used to those mental models itself takes 2 months. So how is it that the interns are contributing from the 16th day? Maybe if Mohit wants to take it, because you're a software developer yourself.
Yeah. So what happens is if you're training for 3 months, so what is happening they are training by going into too much details. So if you just trained how to get the logic, I'm explaining in terms of coder, just how to get the logic, then that time can be cut down to 15 days.
Okay. And how do you said that your first client would be a friend? That's fine. Okay. So, but beyond the friend, you would have to get external clients. So how do you start doing that actually?
Not necessarily we ask a friend for the initial time. We can just like we have trial models, so we can just ask someone to try our interns. So they will try our interns, and if as we say now as we are taking the responsibility of creating the culture for the interns, so they will obviously stay there. So as the company sees the results, okay, this intern is doing well and he's staying, they get to see the difference between the seriousness in the intern. So obviously the mouth to mouth advertising will help in the start.
And I just wanted to clarify why I said I would get my first client as relative or a friend, because if I'll say it to someone who's very new to me, they'll think that I am saying a fairy tale. But if there's someone who knows me, who knows what I'm doing, then that person have some trust in me. So that's like a sweet spot for me.
But would you not need a marketing team beyond the first team to go out and pitch your product to say 20 companies? If you pitch to 20 companies, you'll think you'll get 20 clients?
No.
I want to add that we just in our pitch mentioned about gross profit, not we did not cover the marketing and all expenses. So of course, during the initial stage, that would be much higher to acquire the clients and all. And
in the practical world, that's what we're trying to say. In the practical world, a lot more time and a lot more cost goes before. That's what the lady was trying to say, the burn cost. In a startup, there is a rather long gap between starting your business, even in corporation, from there onwards till you get your first revenue check. So that period is rather long, and so yeah, so one has to build into your model all the exigencies of what can happen till you get a proper revenue model going. So that's what he just advised, that's all. Rest is okay, concept is okay. You have to have a database of people. You have to have the from both sides, clients as well as interns or trainees. Yeah, you start with friends, colleagues, mentioning word of mouth, but then you have to have a proper scientific way of collecting data. I think
yeah, and I think just one other comment is your proposition started with the fact that there is attrition in the regular model. What happens if your intern doesn't like the place and he leaves? So there is attrition there as well.
Yeah, so there is the risk involved with us also, but since our model of like hiring interns, it's very narrowed down. We just hired interns through very long process. So if they are coming at this stage, they would not want to leave that part or that job. And even if some might be the cases there that they don't get fit with the job or the work environment, so there are always the cases. So we are not saying that we would not be having the attrition rate, but we would cut down the attrition rate from 40% to some sort of lower than that.
they are providing some kind of a guarantee, not a guarantee, but a little better, yeah, vetting the interns to the clients.
Yeah.
And if an intern leaves, he doesn't like the place where you have posted, would you then try to post him somewhere? That's number one. And number two, as part of your offering, would you charge zero fees to your customers in the initial period because they're trying out your interns?
Okay, so to answer the first question, we would want that intern that if he wants to get placed in some another organization, we would be happy to place him there, but subject to some conditions. We would be wanting to know why did he leave it. If it would be a genuine concern, we would be happy to place him in some another organization. If that is not an valid answer or valid reason, then we would not be placing him in some another organization, because there would be image threat for our company for that.
So how would you deal with the situation where the client is unhappy with their intern and fires the intern? What will you do?
So for that, we would try to replace the person with some another intern, which we have already in our database.
But how do you convince the company that this intern is better than the earlier intern who was fired?
To convince, I would say if they have hired 10 interns from us, and if one turns out to be a bad intern and still 9 are working well and working fine with them, so that would create an goodwill for us. So they would be happy to hire one intern from us. That's attrition rate of 10%, I guess. So it's very less than the 40%.
Supposing the attrition turns out to be 30%, what would you do?
If it turns out to be 30%.
It can, you can't guarantee that your attrition is 10%. So supposing it turns out to be 30%, what would you do? How would you evaluate the success of your internship program?
So if the attrition rate turns out to be 30%, we would have to check our hiring process again. There could be some flaws in it, or there might be some miscommunications with the interns, I guess, because they might have joined for some another reason, or we might have misunderstood them. So that could be the case.
I believe Mr. Anas has been wanting to ask the question.
Yes.
One can ask the other team as well, right? Not only the...
They're going after this. Yeah, Mr. Anas, please go ahead.
Yeah, so these are the interesting points that you have mentioned, like how if there is a firing rate and then again hiring rate and the customer trust. But what is the USP? Is there any competitive advantage that you have? What is the unfair advantage that you are carrying in the market? So while going to the first client or the first customer, the client have 10 different options to choose, or may have its own mechanism of hiring. So when you are saying that we are going to reduce the cost, maybe the client is using some other mechanism that you are not aware of, or some other way of hiring. Maybe more affordable. Maybe they have tied up with some college or university for the interns, which university is taking the responsibility for. So, have you analyzed something like that? What is a unfair advantage that you have to sell in the market?
Okay. Insha or Mohit, would you like to answer, or should I answer?
Actually, I'm not clear with what Mr.
The
Anas.
question is, what is that USP which you have in this product? Because the client might tie up with a college or might be using some other source to hire.
So,
Yeah, Mohit.
Or why does he come to you rather than some other company who doing a similar? What is special about you? Is trying to say.
Yeah, so basically the companies that you are going as a client, they already have employees.
Yeah, Mr. Anas, Mr. Mohit wants to take that. He got it. Yeah, Mohit, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically what in college what happens is ki company go and they pick up interns, but here as we hire the interns, we have a for say 5 days 6 days long hiring process. So we already have a lot of behavior data of that intern, right? So we already know much about that intern as compared to college and stuff. So we know key what where in which
like you are training for a 1.5 months or 3 months, and a college is having for 4 years or 3 years or 2 years of program. So how can you know more than a college?
Yeah, but they are not what do we say?
Yes, Sanskar.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are picking the interns from the college as well, from the college itself. So they are having that experience as well as they are having an extra experience in DT. And
Sanskar, I'm not sure if you got the question. The question is, why should the client come to you?
Yeah, I'll come to that. So
when you are saying extra skills, I got it. When you're saying extra skills, is there any outstanding certification or the government approved verified certification that you are providing that a company can consider it, or it's just your certification, which is what is the validation of the certification?
Okay, so to answer that, like we don't have any as of now, we don't have any certification from the government, but as we can see, a person studying from a regular or a top universities have better communication skills, better qualities in his personalities, which can be seen from while interacting with him. So that so is the case with the DT. If you will get to interact with the DT intern, you will get to know that they are having some kind of skills.
If you are mentioning about the top universities or college, let's say my company and my HR make a call to a top-notch college, to their e-cell or some recruitment team, and ask for the interns, will get it directly from the top-notch college. So why we should route using a company? You are saying we are adding a skill. So now we don't have a validation or certification for that.
In the interest of time, I'll really have to cut this because I think we overshot on the first team and we'll have to catch up with the second team. But just for more clarity, I'd like to state some of the assumptions where Team Gordon goofed up a bit. Point number one, this is a B2B SaaS product which is being developed. They converted that into a service and dug their grave there itself. So this is a B2B SaaS product, and the secret of this product is in cutting down the 3 months training period to 15 days, which was internally validated within Deep Thought for the last 1 year with our own team of 25 software interns who built our existing platform right now, which me and my CTO, Mr. Hariharan, sort of built this model over the last 1 year. So the company is already funded by 5 school leaders and few technologists. So the product starts with behavioral selection, which is what Mohit was trying to articulate, but probably struggled a bit there. So we use this method called behavioral selection, which Amazon and a lot of these companies also use, where you don't just look at the skill set, but you look at the alignment of the candidate overall. Deep Thought uses this process. So all the people here who are talking to you, went through a 30-hour selection process to get into deep thought, which is what Sanskar was trying to say, that if someone has gone through that much of a grind, the person is more likely to stick. And so that brings us to first USP is talent scouting in terms of behavioral selection. We have our own recruitment platform called DT Thon, which is what Sanskar was trying to say. So because we do hiring through tech, the recruitment costs come down because the recruitment is automated through this platform called DT Thon, which we built. Second is we do employer branding for the client. A lot of good candidates do not know much about the company, while Deep Thought does a lot of recruitment marketing, which encourages youngsters to go for as long as a 30-hour selection process to get in, which we're now helping clients to do that. And the third thing is, at the core, we don't consider ourselves a recruitment company. I think that's where they got it horribly wrong. We are an L&D company and not a recruitment company. We don't charge the client for recruitment at all. We say recruitment comes free, consume it. We charge you for a monthly L&D cost, which we're going to take from you. So we charge you only when the candidate starts delivering at your level. And another assumption which they missed out is it's a peer-to-peer learning platform. As you must have seen, all these guys are trying to make sense of things themselves with little interference from the experienced folks. So a tech platform, ambitious youngsters all brought in through behavioral selection process. And there is a mobile app where they can engage in discussions, where they can share insights. There's a thread builder, which we're patenting right now. It's a psychology research-based learning platform we built. So through this, people learn much faster. So some of our software developers who working as interns with us are handling projects which otherwise people with 2+ years experience usually handle. And one last assumption I want to bring in again, why Insha spoke of friends and well-wishers is Deep Thought is a company which has started after about 9.5 years of field research by me in schools. So a lot of friends, a lot of well-wishers than what a usual founder would have. So the initial clients we're picking up are purely within our network, which is why we do not have a marketing team right now in-house. Because me as the founder, I'm picking up all the clients myself to save that capital. So probably they're not aware of some of these assumptions, but I'm glad they got to be grilled nicely to get more clarity around the product. Yeah.
No, but very good, Tarun. I think it's excellent, actually. In fact,
the product, I mean, forget the discussion, but your concept is good, Tarun. I like the idea. Very good.
But let me just tell that this idea is a pure accident. We were working in the school education space, K-12. Couldn't get shareholder returns there. But we built our own product using interns. And people are like, how did you build it using interns? And we saw money here and we pivoted from school education to L&D.
Yeah.
And in the long term, the value we see is the productivity losses that corporates are having. We're starting with startups right now, but in the long term, the idea is to sell to a Microsoft, a Google, a TCS, and so on as a productivity solution.
Yeah. No, I think it's very interesting, actually. In fact, the other format that I do like is a company called GrowthX, actually. I do not know. Look them up. GrowthX is actually for startup founders, where they can go and learn with senior founders coming and teaching. Look them up, actually.
Sure.
Look them up, because I'm an investor there. So they're very. And the other one I would encourage is interact with Pramad Sinha, Harappa Education, and all that. I think which have recently been bought out by Upgrade. Actually, I think you should find a way of reaching out to Pramad Sinha. Actually, Pramad Sinha is the founder of ISB, founder of Ashoka University. He's an excellent guy. If you can get somebody like a Pramad as a mentor, I think you'll find that I think he can add value for sure. Actually, yeah.
Sure, Mr. Dev. So we'd request the jurors to move to the breakout room so we could guide you with the scoring process.
Yeah.
We'll accelerate the round.
We have done the scoring for this. Oh, there's scoring for this as well. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, it's fine. Right.
Here it will just be the answers which will be scored.
Yeah, that's right.
While the jurors are back, reflections.
Yeah, I've got an important reflection that we need to keep our answers really short and crisp so that we have a clear understanding and we can handle more questions and gain more clarity.
Okay.
Rather than that, we could have went into detail, like we were shooting here and there. Instead of that, we could have asked some important questions like how would you do the training? How would that help other the way you asked? That we missed on that point. We went somewhere else here.
Okay.
Mr. Anas, have you scored your jury round one sheet?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Any other reflections while the jury scores? I hope the second team didn't pick a DT product. Or you
Yes,
did?
we did. Yeah.
Which one?
DT-thon.
Okay.
Introducing inside feed.
You get a 1 minute pitch.
Yes, we are ready for that.
I'll keep it quick. Yeah, I'll keep it quick.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're good to go. So folks will go through an accelerated round now. So Team Nauroji, your quick 45-second pitch, please. Yeah.
Thank you, Tarun. So this week our team worked on integrating Inside Feed and DT-thon. So let me first explain these two terms. DT-thon is a platform where users can apply for projects, courses, and recruitment processes. In the Inside Feed, potential candidates can post articles and reflections, read about them, and create discussion rooms. A company's 5 needs can be satisfied on one platform. A space to advertise. Their recruitment process is smooth. They can look for employees suited for the role, aligning with their vision and values. They get data to do research, and also they can build a community. Suppose a company pays rupees 1,000 in the recruitment process and rupees 1,000 for advertising their company to prospective candidates. Our platform brings to them the freedom of networking and provides them a large pool of candidates to choose from who are aligned to the company's visions and values. If they are currently spending rupees 1,000 more on marketing campaign, they can access the data from which they can curate their projects on the basis of popularity. This total becomes rupees 3,000. They may not, they will be willing to buy a subscription to DT-thon for rupees 1,000. This saves them rupees 2,000 immediately. Also, the cost is immediately reduced by 66%. Additionally, if the productivity increases by 50% on an average for a project student, the company will need to hire lesser number of project students by a factor of 1/3, further saving their money during the recruitment process.
Okay. So
that was all from my
Gordon,
side.
was that fine? Can we go ahead with your questions? This will be an accelerated round. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, the first question may sound like theory, but I have a value added question on it. So may I?
Yeah, can we go faster, please? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So you said that you will be advertising it, but in the same feed, there will be people who will be posting stuffs as well. So what will be prioritized first? As a person who has posted something which really has insight, or the promoted content?
Okay, so the post would be about the project only, that are posted by the companies.
So Insha, I believe what they meant by advertising is recruitment marketing, whether advertising the company to job seekers, not advertisements in the field. Yeah. Question, Team Gordon.
So why would like recruiter would be paying DT-thon? He can advertise its requirement on LinkedIn or somewhere else also.
Okay, so
yes, Amit.
Okay,
yes.
so one side they have to advertise their company, they have to go through the entire recruiting process, they have to anyway outsource that, they have to get through the entire process, then they are hiring somebody. And even in that also sometimes happens that they are not aligned to the reason, they are not aligned to the company's vision.
Okay, so alignment. Yeah, back to Team Gordon.
Yeah, and also they are getting.
We got your answer, Samita. We got your answer. Back to Team Gordon. I have a follow-up question.
So how is it different from
She said
DT
aligned
Thon.
candidates. You get to find aligned candidates here, which is why they come here. You have a follow-up question to that?
So, but for that you have to make such an AI. So that's a costly part for building
No.
such algorithms, which
Yeah,
are better than
Okay.
other.
So I would like to take this question. Other platforms, there are a lot of people who want jobs, but on DTthon, there are people who want to learn, who are aligned to the, there is a commonality that everyone is aligned to learning. That's why companies will prefer hiring through DTthon and advertising on DTthon.
So how would you like filter out the person?
Hold on a sec, folks. Looks like we've turned this around into a young CMO dialogue, which we're going to have next Saturday. But if you can focus on the value creation bit, yeah.
So basically, if I'm a recruiter, at the end of the day, I want my work to be done. And you are saying that it's a learning platform. So how is it creating value for me?
Yeah, so you, as Utkarsh pointed out earlier, the company is not only getting recruitment process but getting 5 things at one platform, 5 things in one price. So that's it.
So he's saying from a company perspective, you're getting 5 things for the same price. Follow-up question to that, Gordon.
Can you tell what 5 things?
Yeah, so one is the recruitment process. One is the recruitment process getting done. Another is that they get a space to advertise. They can look for the employees who align with their vision and values. They get data for research, and they also can build a community on only one platform.
Wait, recruitment and recruitment marketing. Doesn't any recruitment platform already give you that?
Sorry?
Recruitment and recruitment marketing. Any recruitment platform gives you that, right? Be it Naukri, LinkedIn, or anyone.
Yeah, they give that, but we are providing all these things at one place.
Yeah.
But why are you looking at them as 2 separate things is the question.
Recruitment and because recruitment marketing is one thing, but the recruitment process is also smoother. So we are enhancing the recruitment process also.
Okay.
Can you tell, like, we can charge recruiters a certain amount, but for that we should be having employees or interns with our app. So how would you encourage interns to join our app?
Again, questions on the value creation front. Let's assume they've come, right? Santa Claus gets them, but can we focus on the value creation part?
What if people are not willing to use your technology?
Again, next Saturday, young CMO dialogue. Yeah. On the value creation front, any questions? No? Okay. Thank you, Team Gordon. That concludes this round. We'll move to the jury round now. Jurors, in case you're comfortable with the scoring, you can do it right here. Otherwise, Saurik would be happy to help you backstage. So while the jurors are scoring, any reflections?
Yeah, this round went exactly as I expected. I gave the presentation, not too many questions. Actually, we prepared the presentation in a way that we explained everything quite well, but in a concise manner. We spent a lot of effort while preparing
let's wait for the jurors. Let's wait for the jurors. Yeah. I think you left enough loopholes, just that Team Gordon couldn't capitalize yet. Any reflections?
I think we had questions in our mind, but we were not able to articulate it in a way that how is it creating value.
Yeah, actually this product is linked with our product, no? So we were not able to ask questions because that would be questioning our product itself. So
see, the secret here is in understanding where is that value coming from, what are the key assumptions which are triggering that value, and then you start questioning those assumptions. Where is that value getting generated? Like when they say we're screening better, I think that's the focal point for questioning, right? How is that screening better, and how is that better screening leading to value? I think that could be the focal point for questioning. I mean, just one point, right? That way you look at where is the source of value. Yeah. I think the jurors are back. We're happy to move into the jury round. So if Mr. Vinay or Mr. Anas or Mr. Giridhar, if you have a question, we'd love to take the question.
Actually, I think I was not very clear on the product, to be honest, actually.
Yeah. So could you guys quickly take him through your product?
Okay,
Just the financial model part of it was not clear to me too. How's the money coming?
Yeah.
Okay. So our product is Insight Feed. On the Insight Feed,
what is this Insight Feed? What is this Insight Feed?
Yeah. On the Insight Feed, candidates post articles.
What is this Insight Feed?
Yeah, Insight Feed is a product within DD-Thon where candidates post articles and reflections. And
Can you compare it with something else which people are already familiar with? How does it look like?
Yeah.
It's kind of like LinkedIn.
It looks something like the LinkedIn feed. It's something like
how is
the
it different from LinkedIn feed?
On LinkedIn feed, you would there would be option of either liking it or the commenting it. Here we don't have both of them options, because we feel if you are really excited about the content that you saw, you should share a reflection on it. So there's
so it's just LinkedIn feed without a like button, is it?
No, like there are multiple things as well. We have discussion room as well.
Mostly our discussion focused around research.
Okay, so it's kind of like a LinkedIn feed with a focus on research. Okay, I'll leave you there. Next one, yeah.
We have a filter.
Saurav, I'll appreciate if your teammates can take this because we just can't hear you. Yeah. Yeah. So can you go over this quickly, please? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a feed where you share your insights and your research and your
Insight feed is done next. Insight feed is done next. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, you can create discussion rooms and
what is this discussion room? What is this discussion room?
Yeah. So when a candidate sees an interesting topic in the article or in the reflection, they can take it to the discussion room and discuss it with other peers or other candidates.
How is it different from forums? How is it different from forums, chat rooms, or WhatsApp groups? Yeah.
Okay, I would take that. In chat rooms, if a conversation. Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah. So in chat rooms or forums, you don't have the context. You may lose the context, but in discussion rooms, there is a specific topic, and you can directly take create that discussion room from an article which was related to it. So you have only a specific kind of people oriented to a specific topic only.
Okay. So to be a part of that, you have to pay some fees, is it? Just to be a part of that.
No, you don't have to pay for all that. You have to pay only for the courses part, and the recruitment process is free because we are not the recruiting company. The discussions and the reflections are also free. You have to pay only if you want to learn something through our platform.
Okay, so just to make things clear, Mr. Vinay, you pay for the subscription. So you get a complete technology suite as a part of that subscription, of which this Insight Feed, discussion room, DT-Thon, all of them come into that suite. Like a Microsoft Office suite, you get a complete suite.
So individual or a corporate could be paying this subscription to be a part of that.
It's a B2B product, so the organization pays for the suite. Yeah, next thing after discussion room.
Yeah, so I guess that was Mr. Vinay's question. So I've answered it. Like he wanted to understand the financial model.
No, but Mr. Giridhar was still looking forward to understand the product, so he could question. So,
yeah. Okay. So these are the
what
products.
Is DT-Thon? What is DT-Thon?
Yeah. So DT-Thon is like a comprehensive space where teachers can create courses. And students not only have courses, it is different from other course offering platforms because DT-Thon also has assets which promote like comprehensive learning where like students get projects. They can interact with the they can share reflections. They can use a thread builder, which is part of the deep tech technology, and they can use other technologies as well, which differentiates it from other platforms which provide learning.
Mr. Giridhar, just for some context for questioning, assets are, I mean, in deep thought, we have different formats in which people can express their thoughts. So each of the format, we call it an asset,
Right.
which is what.
Understood. So basically, as I understand, if I just play back what I've just heard, essentially you're saying that that it is a forum where there are certain subjects where the students are able to do reflections, and a recruiter potentially can become a member of this, like a LinkedIn Jobs, and get access to those discussions. Is that a fair understanding?
So I mean, if I'm a recruiter, I can create my own DT-thon.
Right, understood.
Set up the process which people have to follow over a period, observe them while they do all of this,
understood,
and then see the alignment and pick up people.
Okay. And once once as a recruiter, if I set up DT-thon, all the students or interns that you have are automatically members of that, is it? Is that what?
Whoever applies just goes to the DT-thon and completes all the steps. It gets completely automated.
Understood.
And there's no charge for doing that particular process of selection and getting the candidate. There's nothing to pay.
Yeah, you just pay the subscription charge. Once you pay the subscription charge, you can keep using this feature.
Yeah. Okay.
This is what they've presented, but in reality, the organizational business model is we don't make money out of recruitment. We make money only out of L&D.
Yeah.
But for the competition, I think they wanted to design a revenue model for recruitment as well.
Yeah. 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 No, it's interesting actually. I think recruitment clearly is getting the right candidates. We all go. All of us go to CA institutes, we go to IIMs, we go to various places to take candidates actually. I think and one question I had even from the earlier discussion and now, when you say interns, is their whole business model on supplying interns for the short term, or are these management trainees who then grow in the organization? I think, what is the concept here? Is it a 2-month summer training that you're training people for, or is it a first job?
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just close this round and I'll take the question, because I'm sure they'll take you on a tangent.
Correct.
But yeah, we'll close this round now. We request the jurors to score in Nauraji.
Sure. Should we go to I'll just go to the breakout room score and come back, and maybe anyway, we can chat separately as well. So no problem. Jury room.
Yeah. Saurik, you may please go to jury room to guide the jurors who want some assistance. Reflections, people. You pick some complicated products, huh?
Yeah, and actually I understood the value why we are not charging for the recruitment process. We actually come around it, and now I am understanding it better.
Why don't we charge for recruitment?
Because we are charging for L&D. We are keeping it comprehensive, no? So that's why I did not understand that before, but while the pitch of the other team Gordon, I came to this realization.
Yeah, we say that anyway, I'm saving this cost because of tech. I'll pass it on to the consumer and get it through L&D. And say you're saving this anyway, spend more on L&D, your employees get better. And that's where, Mr. Giridhar's question also gets answered. What is this intern? We're starting with that, but the long-term business is L&D, right? For all levels.
Yeah.
Any other reflections?
Maybe I should have tried to understand the product in more detail before presenting.
Okay, so but I'll give it to you guys that these two products were quite tough to handle. Mr. Giridhar, to answer your question, the idea is in the long term, we'd like to be an L&D player.
Yeah.
Pure B2B SaaS product, no service component involved, where companies pay for the subscription. People engage in peer-to-peer learning through this product. But initially, we're working with interns and startups, because many of the tech startups cannot afford software developers on products right now. A software developer with 2 years experience with a product inclination today is costing 12 to 20 lakhs per annum.
Yeah.
Because there are not many software developers with a product inclination. We are saying we can pick up interns, put them into these Socratic dialogues, put them into all these things to get them the product inclination, get them to code. That cuts down your cost. So, and it also reduces the risk of a startup because they're hiring interns and so on. So that's where we hit a sweet spot. But once we do our validation after Series A, we plan to slowly pivot into the other ones. We're going for the low-hanging fruit with startups and interns initially.
Understood.
But the long-term money is in the L&D.
Understood. Understood. Good. Good.
Yeah. Is there some way to keep in touch with you, Tarun, later? Maybe
Yes, Mr. Vinay, I'll connect with you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, yeah, do that. Or through Sorik as well. Through Sorik can possibly. Yeah. Because
We'd love to hear you.
Yeah, we're doing lot of startups are coming to Indonesia. Lots of Indian startups. All which are doing well in India are moving to greener pastures, and I'm involved with some of them to set up in Indonesia. The legal process of setting them up and getting them some business development. It's an interesting chat we can have later.
Absolutely. I'll connect with you on LinkedIn, Mr. Vinay, Mr. Giridhar, Mr. Anas. We'd love to hear your reflections on the format itself. I think we went too much into the domain, but this format of
the next time if we are a part of such a thing, it'll be clearer. The first time we were floundering as well, right? Not sure what I was. So our scoring and all might not be fair, but yeah, now we've understood the logic. If we do that next time, we'll be a lot fairer and better.
No, I think I'd simply say that I don't think I'm going to focus on the projects themselves, Tarun. I think I'm going to focus on value creation, because I think this round was all about value creation. Actually, I think really for the participants in the round, I think it's important. I hope there is some learning in terms of what value creation truly is actually. And I think deep thought is one way of value creation, but ultimately anything you do has to have, I think, starting point in using the startup languages. You need an MVP, which is a minimum viable product, which kind of works with customers. And I think getting the MVP right is very important actually. And there is an interesting thought about what an MVP should be. I think rather than call it minimum viable product, I think you call it minimum likable product. The reason is that sometimes startups spend too much in terms of getting to what they think is their perfect MVP actually. I think I think many startups waste time. I think a minimum likable product is a better definition in terms of getting to a product which is liked by customers. So you get to your end product very quickly. The second thing, of course, is what do you say, your go-to-market strategy. So you've got a product and then you go-to-market strategy. Your go-to-market strategy in a situation like this are on two fronts. Number one is how do you acquire customers? And number two is how do you acquire interns? I think in this particular case, it's both actually. I think from an acquisition of interns itself, there is a certain cost which is incurred in terms of getting interns, training them, during which period you don't earn anything. And then, of course, there's a cost of acquisition of a customer. And I think this is where I think it'll probably be good for all of you guys to understand the difference between a B2B and a B2C kind of a product. Yeah. Actually, a B2B is far easier because far harder to crack in. But once you're cracked in, a B2B product has typically lower CACs actually, and gives you much more assurance in terms of collections actually. A B2C product is far more difficult to crack because of the cost of acquisition. I think that's the second one. The third is the whole understanding of the SaaS model itself. I think SaaS is a great model because ultimately in a SaaS, it is you basically pay a regular monthly stream actually, it's like a subscription. And I think that in many ways is a gold standard actually, because I think for a company like yours, which is kind of getting onto a subscription model, then you build an annuity, which means you start, it's like putting money in a fixed deposit and every month getting 10% of it as interest. So which means you keep getting your 10% every month.
Rather,
so
it evens out rather and doesn't change month to month. You don't have to really worry about fluctuating revenue model. You're right.
And I think so the SaaS model definitely has advantages there. And a lot of companies are really going towards the SaaS model. And more importantly, from a company's perspective, I think a SaaS model is easy because you want it for 3 months, you do it. If you don't want it the 4th month, you take off actually. And I think so some of those things are also can be need based as well actually. So I think ultimately the concept is win-win. Like the very first team, Gordon, I think it was, which talked about 5 lakh recruitment cost was offering it at 3 lakhs and all that. I think there is value, what do you say, value on both sides. From the company's perspective, instead of paying 5 lakhs, you pay 3 lakhs. So that's value for the company taking interns from you. But there is value to Deep Thought as well, because the cost of recruiting is 1.8 lakhs and you're charging 3 lakhs as an example, actually. So there's value on both sides. Ultimately, I don't think if you're buying a vegetable in the market, I mean, using a very simple example, a guy sells you mangoes at say 20 rupees a piece. You think it's value because 20 is cheaper than what you can get elsewhere, or you get a good deal. But for him, 20 makes sense because his cost is probably 10 or 15 or whatever, actually. I think this value create question is very important, especially what's happened in the startup world. I know there are companies until about 7-8 months ago were getting valued based on zero revenues. I've known companies which have been created near unicorns with absolutely zero value, actually. And now they, I encourage you to see this famous Sequoia letter, which went to all startups about 3 months ago, which talked to this big, winter in terms of fundraising. Why? Because companies are saying, gosh, investors are saying, show me the money. I've given you, you can't get value just by saying that I've got a product, actually. Ultimately, show me that, there is value. I think show me that there is demand, show me that there is cash. Ultimately, it's cash. It's not demand. Show me that there is cash conversion, actually. And that is very important, actually. And I think it comes down to that. You may have a great product, but if it doesn't generate cash, I mean, it doesn't. And really, the whole effort is on trying to make sure that you're able to create value and monetization of a product. If you use the venture capital language, ultimately there are so many startups which just fail to monetize. I can tell you an example of a startup where I was an investor, and then there were big investors, big funds, and all that. And we thought it is a great product. I can spend a minute on that product. It is a product based on mobile, voice-based internet. Basically, it went on the simple premise that if I'm a villager in Maharashtra who speaks Marathi and I need to pay a mobile bill or type something type something, I don't know English. And if I have to type in Hindi, it's even more complicated with the matras as an example. So this company came up with a product which basically said, "Mera bill pay kar do," and it would understand, actually. And then it will take you through a process where it says, "Okay, tera mobile number hai. Is it Airtel? Is it Vodafone?" And we thought it is a great product, actually. In fact, if you see all the LinkedIn posts of this company, it was saying how big it can become. And one fine day, a mail came saying that they don't have cash, and we all wrote off our investment, actually. So I think the monetization of the product is so critical, actually. And I think it's startups are fun, but I think Mohammed Anas will probably be able to clarify better. But how do you create an MVP? How do you demonstrate value? How do you maintain your cash burns and make sure? Because bear in mind that as a startup, when you're raising monies in the first round, the money is, and let's say the money is raised at a value of 5 crores. I'm just putting it, actually. And that money, and you raise 1 crore of money. That 1 crore will run out, let us say, in about 6 months' time. Now, at the end of 6 months, you will have to raise the next round. And the next round cannot be at less than 5 crores because it has got to be at higher than 5 crores. So the question is, in the 6 months, have you created value so that your investors think that it's now worth 10 crores? But now what is happening is that if you read about it, now there are many down rounds happening. A company has raised its first round at $100 million. It's done badly, it needs cash. And the next round is not a $100 million valuation, it's at $50 million valuation. So there are down rounds also happening, actually. And in down rounds, it's not easy, and I think stock options can go for a toss, actually, when you talk of employee. I mean, this is a big field. We can talk about it a lot, to be honest, actually. But the whole thing is the concept of value is fundamental in any company, whether you're working for Taj like I am doing, or whether you're working for a startup like Deep Thought. Ultimately, the value has to be there. People need to be able to pay $1,000 a room night in Maldives. And people should feel that paying $1,000 in room night in Taj Maldives is worth it, actually. Otherwise, people won't come and pay $1,000, actually. That's value creation, actually. So I'm just saying it works at multiple levels. So I think it's good, the independent of whether you're a finance person or a developer or a marketing person. I think it's very important to think that ultimately everything comes down to value. Yeah.
Correct. And also the learning is also to sustain it.
Yeah.
A lot of people concentrating only on the initial stages of reaching somewhere.
Yeah.
Very often a company doesn't think of, you have to sustain a business and continue at that level.
Yeah.
So yeah, so any business, this is a very particular startup talk you're doing, but many other businesses, you reach a particular level and then you don't maintain it. So yeah. Okay, I think that was nice. Thanks, guys.
And yeah, so I think I've gone through the ideas are good, and sir have given good insights on it in terms of startup valuations as well, and how the entire industry is moving. But when it comes to the pitching these sort of products for the markets, the value from money from where it is coming is very, very important, and how this money is getting sustained. Sir have put a point, and sustenance is another point. So sustenance of that revenue is the biggest point. So now getting a revenue, sustaining it comes with the agile nature of the running a company. So if you have adaptive and agile nature of running a company or the product, then only you can take it forward. So let's say you figured out a model which is very good, but down the line 6 months, market have some changes. But market have some changes. If you have not adapted the changes, you have not added few more values to it, it's going to crash in. So this is what started with us as well. We have started to propose some value, but market have changed a bit. Then we have to add few more things to it, add, subtract something, and adjusting according to a market. We have to keep an eye to the market, what they are asking for. Otherwise, we'll be keep pushing what we have, and they will be buying for some time, and one day they'll say we don't need it anymore. So yeah, that's my input. If you need to have a agile nature and adaptive nature to the market.
I think do listen to the Prime Venture podcast. Actually, in Apple, there is the Prime Ventures is a private equity fund. I think they come up with some very interesting podcasts actually, and I think there are podcasts on the very subject of value creation there. Do listen. I find it very interesting actually. Prime Venture podcast.
So before you all drop off from the link, I just wanted to show you something.
Yeah.
So while you all were on the Socratic dialogue, our interns have been thread building. And as you can see here, this is the character counts of all the people who've been thread building.
Yeah.
So this is the thread builder software which our team was talking of. So while the session was on, all of our folks were, as a teacher, I can see, the thread builders of all our folks. There's the eagle builder and there's a thread builder.
Yeah.
So the eagle builder gives you the bird's eye view, and the thread builder is done while the session is going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm sure it's a great learning for our whole team. I can see all of them actively, thread building here. Thanks a lot to the jurors for taking your valuable time off. I think.
Thank you. And all
value
the
creation is a very important topic, and I'm glad you made a strong case for it for all these wonderful youngsters who I'm sure will create great products for startups.
All the best to you guys. All the best to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. User. Thank you, Mr. Vinay. Thank you, Mr. Hans.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, people working.
Yes.